YouTube, welcome back again. This is James Biggie, another video for my Rants channel, where I don't really want to rant about anything, but just talk about some shit that I'm into lately with music. Music's always been a big part of my life, growing up from the time I was a very young child through now. So I just want to talk about a little bit about what I'm listening to lately. A lot of hip-hop, as usual. I'm kind of a hip-hop head sort of dude. Into a lot of underground, independently produced, independently run companies, record companies that put out a lot of artists who are very, very, very skilled, very unique, and also very, not very unknown, but pretty low-key underground sort of dudes and ladies, even. Obviously, Rhymesayers Entertainment out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've been a huge, huge Atmosphere fan for years and years and years now. And basically anything Rhymesayers touches is more or less gold. There have been a couple rappers and stuff that they've signed that I haven't been a huge, huge fan of, but are still good in their own right, just not my sort of style. But lately from them, Brother Ali put out a new album. It's amazing. It's called All the Beauty in This Whole Life. A very sort of positive outlook, looking for the good in a very, very dark time that we're all living in right now. And just a very unique, just well composed, well put together album. If you like hip hop of a conscious mind that isn't talking about things of the material sort of demographic, sort of base. Brother Ali has always been great. So that album, awesome. POS's album came out earlier this year called Chill Dummy, and it's super, super, super weird and super cool. A lot of good tracks on it. The whole album itself is a little different from anything he's ever done, but really good. He's now off of Rhymesayers, fully on Doomtree, and putting out really just different sounding. A lot of, like, I've seen interviews and read interviews and stuff where he kind of wants his stuff, if you're not paying attention and listening actively and it's on in the background, to sound just a bit like noise. And there is some of that. A lot of his beats have a lot of distorted elements to them, which you kind of have to listen. The song Thieves/Kings is incredible, so go check that out if it's something that you're in for already, or you want something different from the average hip-hop. Earlier this year and a little bit in the last year, I really got into this dude, Chesky, who toured with Astronautilus, both of which are dudes that many may not have heard of. Astronautilus has a pretty good sized following, but he's still very underground. But this dude Chesky, who opened for him and who's done some songs and stuff with him and stuff, raps. He plays a lot of guitar, oftentimes at the same time, and blends a lot of elements of like punk and indie and hip hop and folksy stuff and like singer-songwriter type stuff, and is just a super fucking talented dude. And he is super interesting. A lot of his songs are talking about his time in prison, which is a very interesting take on things. He's also a very consciously minded dude who raps a lot about how things like equality and fucking a general like understanding of people together, each other, and each other's struggles and stuff, how like everybody understanding that and accepting that stuff is sort of a utopian fucking thing when it shouldn't be. Like, we should all kind of get along and kind of try to understand each other because we're all people, and that being a foreign concept, or that being something we have to talk about actively, is a mindfuck to him, and he expresses such in certain songs. So Chesky, I've been listening to and been on to for like the last year or so. Super, super good. Really, really unique again. Other hip-hop stuff, like the new Tribe album that came out early this year or late last year, can't remember. Tribe Called Quest. Album's really good. Q-Tip kind of kills it. It's a really good send-off for Phife Dawg. Rest in peace. Like, just a good fucking Tribe Called Quest album if you're into a Tribe Called Quest. Outside of that, as far as newer stuff goes, Evidence dropped a new song. It was dope. Go look for that. Let me think. There have been so many different things. I recently, through the rapper Astronautilus, got into this independent punk band, Pup, because Astronautilus covered a song of theirs on YouTube or whatever, and then I went and like found the original, and I've been listening to them for a bit. Super good, like fucking very fast, punky, sort of popish, punky sort of band, but like really cool. And like, first time in a while I've been excited to listen to newer punk, because a lot of that stuff kind of became cookie cutter sounding to me. All of the pop punk, that whole wave of bands or whatever, that all kind of sounds similar. So this band, something about them stands out a little bit, although they very much fit in that sort of feel. They're a little bit different. I enjoy it. I have been listening to some stuff that I haven't for a little while again. I also, being super into hip-hop, have been super into metal and shit, and mostly back in the day when I was younger. I still am to an extent, and I've been listening to some Between the Buried and Me again, their album that came out in like late 2015 or whatever. Super good. Coma Eclectic or Ecliptic, whatever. So fucking good. Super fucking progressive and crazy, talented guitar and bass and drum work, and just like such a range of vocals. That album is just very well composed, well put together. I actually bought tickets to go see them in St. Pete, Florida at the State Theater. They're touring for the 10-year anniversary of their album Colors. If you're a metalhead or like into fucking metal and really talented progressive sounding guitar work and stuff like that, you know that album, I'm sure. They're touring for the 10-year anniversary of it, and they're playing it in its entirety, and I couldn't be fucking more excited. I haven't been to a metal show in probably like 8 years. It's been a minute, just because I got kind of sick of the whole, again, cookie cutter sounding bands. Like every band sounds like another band that sounds like another band. It just became a copy of a copy of a copy of all these new bands come out. So I'd have people like, oh, have you heard this band? And I'm like, no, because I quit actively looking for new bands because they all fucking sound the same. And oftentimes you're like, oh, you should check them out. And I do, and then they sound the same as somebody else, and I don't give a shit. So it's become so homogenized and samey that I've kind of avoided looking for new bands in metal and stuff like that. But I certainly go back and listen to old bands. Between the Buried and Me one that I will always listen to. I have been listening to more and more of lately, just anticipating going to see them later in October. Another band who I have always loved from the first time I saw them live and got their first album, Misery Signals. They're finally putting out the documentary that was filmed about their reunion shows for their 10-year anniversary of their first album. And that documentary comes out at the end of this month, finally. I'm super excited to see that. I fucking love that band, and now I think they're back to their original lineup, which I liked the second lineup with their second singer, Carl Schubach or whatever, who's very good. But there was something about that original lineup and that original band that was really what kind of hooked me and brought me in first, and I enjoy the idea that they could be back together as a band again, and that there's a documentary about that. So that comes out later. I'm excited for that. Aside from that, 1 week from today, exactly today, this Sunday, the 4th of June, in 1 week, I will be going to Tampa to see fucking Iron Maiden live, which is ridiculous to me because, like, my dad is a massive, massive, huge Iron Maiden fan, and that's one of his favorite bands from growing up. And I grew up listening to them, or listening to him listen to them at a very high volume, which is probably partially why my hearing sucks balls. Thanks, Dad. But My girlfriend Allison also, by some sort of weird anomaly, super into Iron Maiden. My dad's age and my girlfriend's age are far apart. Like, my girlfriend's 22, my dad's in his 50s, so it's weird that like my dad loves Iron Maiden and my girlfriend loves Iron Maiden like the same. For her birthday, her sister bought her tickets to go see fucking Iron Maiden on tour, which blew her fucking mind because she is so excited for it. And I bought a ticket so I can go with her and stuff. And I'm pretty excited for that. Like, I'm not the hugest Iron Maiden fan outside of like the songs that everybody likes. Like, everybody fucking likes Run to the Hills and The Trooper and shit, just because like, yeah, it's just good, like good riffage and catchy guitars and super fucking interesting like theatrics and shit. And I'm looking forward to seeing that live. That is one that I never knew I would put on the list of bands that I want to check off seeing before I die and before I'm too old to go see bands live and shit. But I get to mark that one off, and that's like a little one of life's bonuses. Like, I didn't know I wanted to see Iron Maiden live until now I'm going to see Iron Maiden live. So that's cool. And there have been a few bands like that I've seen that I never thought I would enjoy seeing or that I wouldn't go out of my way to see, but happened to. Megadeth being one of them. Got to see them years ago. Excuse me. And got to mark them off the list. And now I get to go see Iron Maiden, and that's kind of fucking sweet. You know, just a good time for sure will be had. That is more or less the stuff I've been listening to. I've been listening to more and more Coheed and Cambria lately. I've always loved Coheed from the first time I saw them live back when their first album was out and they were opening for like Thursday or whatever, back when I was in high school, like 2002-ish or whatever. But always loved that band, but kind of fell away from them a little bit in their later years or whatever. So I went and started kind of listening to some of their later albums for like, not the first time, but like kind of revisiting them for the first time because I didn't super get into like their last couple albums. I was super into like their first 4 albums, and then after that I kind of took a break, as it were. So I've been revisiting those albums that I kind of missed out on, and they're fucking good. Coheed and Cambria is just a good band. They're just a talented bunch of dudes who write songs well and have a very interesting science fiction sort of story that they tell throughout their music, and that is super cool, and nobody else does it quite like them. I know there are bands that do that conceptual music sort of thing throughout their albums, or try to tell a concise story per album. Coheed and Cambria has now done it on like 6 albums, and then they just put out their last album that is actually disconnected from their main storyline. It's also pretty good. So I've been listening to them a lot lately. And then like just listening to stuff that I listen to on a day-to-day basis always. Atmosphere and like Aesop Rock I've been listening to a bunch lately again. And then like Wu-Tang and Biggie, and I've been getting more into Tupac now that I'm older than I was when Tupac was relevant and making music and stuff. I was always a bigger fan of Biggie over Tupac. I always found Tupac a little touch, just tiny bit overrated, and not because I actually think he's overrated. I just think that he was really, really highly celebrated for the amount of good music he put out. I'm not saying that his stuff was shit or garbage or anything, but it just didn't grab me the way that like Biggie did back in the day, or like bands like Wu-Tang and stuff. And I feel like he kind of had that Kurt Cobain syndrome in rap, where like Kurt Cobain highly celebrated after he died, and was celebrated during his life too, but like I think him dying kind of brought it from here to like here. And then like in rap, I think Tupac dying kind of brought it from here to here, where like, not saying that he didn't have the talent to reach that level, and if he'd lived for another 20 years may have very well just been the best rapper on earth. Not close, but I feel like he was just a touch of over celebrated, where I felt like Biggie was the better rapper. But I also have been called Biggie since like the 3rd grade, so maybe I'm biased. We share a namesake or whatever. So I've been listening more Tupac lately and enjoying it a bit. Outside of that, I just dig music, man. Like, there's in tattooing and having a fortunate job where I get to listen to the sort of music I like. I don't have to worry about censoring it or listening to radio edited shit. I could just put on whatever. I get to listen to a lot of music throughout the day, and sometimes I'm sure I piss off my coworkers by choosing something that they've either heard too much or they're not into as much as I am, but, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, what are some things that you've been listening to? What's some stuff you would recommend for me to hear? That would be cool to hear. Comment down below here and let me know. Or if you've listened to anything after I've recommended it here, what do you think? You know, what's some stuff that you enjoyed? Would you like to hear more about or whatever? Sweet, that'd be cool. Let me know. Either way, we're running long again here, but it's a vloggy, sort of ranty channel. And I just want to talk about something cool for once and not bitch about something or fucking complain or whatever. So I thought I'd keep it positive. So please comment, like, subscribe, share, whatever. I'll put a button up here or over there. I'm not sure exactly which side it'll end up on. To subscribe. Once you click that, every time I make a video, you'll see it or you'll get notified, whatever. That's cool. And I'll link to my previous videos here. I don't know which ones will be linked here. Probably one that's a long-ass rant about tattooing somewhere in here. So check those out if you're so inclined. Otherwise, I will talk to you soon.